doing a mic check because I know that we don't have the intro rolling anymore because of all sorts of station issues, and we hope and wish things are getting better for Chris and Cherie. They're going through a lot, and they can't get to everybody's needs, but we soldier through with this little ship we call TFRLivedotcom. How's it going, everybody? It is Steve Zareleth. Yes, I am live this February 11th, 2024. It's good to see you guys, and today on Trigenesis, I have a good guest. I have my friend who is known from Project Chaney's channel and the Secret Society of Good Guys, and a former friend from my time that we were both rocking and rolling on the Weaving Spiders Welcome, or Web, whichever. And this is my friend Abbie. Abbie Abstract. So on. I should just call you Abbie, right?
Yeah, Abbie's good.
Yeah,
it's my name.
Yeah. So today I'm running this conversation. There's going to be a actual video component that will be appreciated to be seen. A little bit later on down the line, like a week or so, when I get a chance to get it uploaded to YouTube, because Abbie has been doing for a long time, longer than me, what I have been doing for the last 3 years, which was combining my spirituality, understanding of metaphysics, and epigenetics, and all that good stuff that I love to talk about, and apply it to physical fitness and the whole, like, elevated mindset of things. And so, we probably wouldn't even be the greatest of friends right now if we didn't even have that in common. Just because, like, you were my doctor for 3 seconds and said, "Oh yeah, your elbow's killing you. Just go like this, and just bend your elbow," and a pain in my elbow that I had for 3 effing months went away within like 2 weeks.
Yeah, nerve flossing is what that's called, because sometimes pain isn't muscular, it's from the nerves being, because your fascia, so your electrical components and everything in your body, it runs throughout your whole body, and it's really, really hard to stretch. So sometimes pain that doesn't go away is like even sciatic nerve pain can be taken away by doing simple little exercises called nerve flossing. So it's like a piece of floss. You're pulling the string one way then the other, and you're making sure that it goes both directions. So
got it. Okay, nerve flossing. Gotcha. That's because in my imagination, I thought maybe it was just like, okay, this is the way you stretch the rubber band, and that's all I was thinking, is that, like, I just wasn't stretching it at the right angle, but it's really about the back and forth of it.
Yeah, I used to have really bad sciatic nerve pain, and it does act up sometimes. I do lift a lot of heavy weights, so a massage always helps, and I try to do that regularly. Bodywork's a really big deal when you're into weightlifting, but really what I discovered is that no amount of stretching or rubbing the area, massaging the area was helping. It wasn't giving me relief. So I started researching, and I found nerve flossing, and it immediately helped my sciatic nerve pain. So
okay, yeah, that's wild. I'd imagine I'm probably getting a lot of that done, even though it wasn't helping me at that particular time, because, like, I was doing and am doing a lot of yoga, right? Of yin and yang style, various flows, and just when you're doing your posture transitions properly, depending on the way that flow is putting together the different postures, it feels like you're probably getting that kind of flossing out of a yoga practice too. You do yoga, right?
Yeah. I sometimes, not really. And it's really just because I am not just a weightlifter, I'm a bodybuilder, and bodybuilding is so time consuming. I mean, it literally is on my mind 24 hours a day, or, all my waking hours, I should say, because it's everything from when I wake up in the morning to, how many times I change my underwear. No joke. Like, it sounds funny, but it's like, that how many times I eat, how frequently I eat, what I eat,
right,
then what I lift, what days I rest. It's so all consuming that, and then I have to practice posing on top of it. So all of these little things. And then I love yoga. It's so great. And there's so much good that can come from it. I just don't fit it into my day. I'm not going to say I don't have time, but I do like to sleep, especially now that I'm in off season and I don't have to get up at 4:30 to do cardio. I'm taking advantage of the extra hours to dream.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to ask, because there's obviously, you're in a much more intense, you're basically in a fire ritual with your body during those times in your bodybuilding competition, right? Like, I'm at the luxury where I push myself. It's probably not even up to those standards, but it's definitely I definitely don't treat my day off like it's a leisurely thing. I'm 1 hour on the elliptical at 20,
Yeah.
And I tell myself I'm going to love it. As long as I love the podcast that's going on while I'm doing it. Otherwise, I'll lose my mind.
I never tell myself I'm going to love cardio, because the truth is I don't love it. I love that I'm not getting fat, so it has its applications, but
For me,
I have to listen to really, really upbeat music. I have a very specific playlist, and it's I try other songs. I try to add certain songs to it, and if it's not right when I'm doing cardio, then I have to take it off my playlist. I have to stay very positive, or cardio is even harder than normal.
Yeah. My mindset's been of an interest of performance, right? So I have different goals than you do, and it's interesting how that shapes all the necessary decisions from the hard work that we research in our own rights about it. It's also good to exchange knowledge, because for your posture, for working on your poses, throwing in a handful of things that are specifically targeting the way you want to twist your back or something, basic spinal stuff at the very least, especially because you're deadlifting, right?
Yeah. I used to do conventional deadlifts. Now I just do Romanian deadlifts and sumo deadlifts.
Yeah. But anything you can do for your coccyx and your lumbar spine, that's going to give you an edge that's going to help your muscles handle more than you thought you could.
Yeah, I think there's so many advantages to deadlifting for sure, from strengthening your core and your spine to your legs and doing compound movements. So it's not just one little repetitive motion. You're using a lot of your body to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, because I'm worried about my own personal injuries, pulling something, looking ridiculous. What I notice is that nobody looks ridiculous when they're doing yoga properly, when they're flexing properly. Nobody looks ridiculous. I look in the mirror and I ask myself, am I cringing, right?
Well, I think kind of opposite. I get worried about, my lifting face and all that, because it's not pretty. I like to think I'm pretty, but then, when I'm lifting and I watch videos, I'm like, oh gosh, look at that. But it just means hard work. So I feel like everyone looks a little ridiculous. If you're doing it right,
Right,
it's
right.
okay. And
Well,
it's okay, you know.
yeah,
A
yeah. I
lot of people
mean,
are
it's
intimidated to get into the gym because they're afraid to look stupid. And it's like, I guarantee you, half these can I say bad words?
yeah,
Half.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, you
I
can.
figured I should ask
Yeah,
before
yeah,
I
yeah,
start
yeah.
dropping the F-bomb.
This station likes to get into all sorts of free speech trouble. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Every motherfucker in there that's working should look a little stupid, and that's okay. So
Yeah.
don't worry about what you look like.
Right. Listen, look, like the way I think about it, once I started working out like that much and looking at the thinking about the faces I'm making, uh, I'm just like, okay, this is what the funny, exaggerated porn face looks like for the guy. At when the show has reached its logical conclusion, right? He's got to be like, with his eyes rolled up in his head and all that stuff, because it's got to be the greatest release anybody's ever released in the history of releasing, right? And that's how you sell it, and so you're selling it to yourself that way because you're accepting the pain, I think.
And it's funny because, like, guys, a lot of the times after a heavy lift, they'll be, and they, growling and yelling and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't do that, but I definitely, like, when I'm at the end, I'll be like, fuck. And then I'll have, the other night it happened, and I'm at a new gym now. So this guy turns around and he's like, are you okay? I was like, no, I'm fine. It was a hard last rep.
It's a little weird when I think about it, because I try not to do that anyway, because I think if I have to be growling that hard, I ought to be under different circumstances. But like, I do a decent amount of my work at Planet Fitness, and Planet Fitness has got this weird slogan thingy because of their no judgment philosophy, right? And it's just like there's like the lug alert or something. And it's and it's basically one of the etiquettes at Planet Fitness is don't be overtly exertive, don't be making all sorts of crazy noises while you're working out, right?
How boring.
Well, you know what? It's like I don't think I think it's just because they don't want people going like overboard, but like because like I've gone and made some grunts and everybody's in their earphones anyway, right?
Yeah.
But I think I get it because, I think some people need that kind of environment. At least I think it's because, we have a co-ed gym, right? So, guys are going to have a different relationship with working out than the girls do. And all that can be very, very distracting. I mean, if I heard a girl just grunting through her whole workout, I'm gonna forget I'm working out. You know what I mean?
Are you? I was like, I just don't, I don't know. I just kind of see it as the part of the gym environment.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It works. It's fine. Planet Fitness is the cheapest one, and it's fairly convenient. So that's why I'm there. If I had my way, I'd live closer to an eSporta because they have a pool.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Yeah. With
I have a little small town gym, and I just switched to a different small town gym. It has decent equipment, but there's not a lot of rules, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah. So, I'm more curious to know, because for a lot of people that, like maybe fitness is not their path, but I think that it's a beautiful thing when we're able to do body maintenance, right? Like the whole learning the talent of the flossing and stuff. What are some of the other techniques you've used, to solve your own problems, do all your healing? And we have acupuncture that we're going to be talking about during the show also. Let me also check the clock because, okay, we're 15 minutes in or so. All right, at the bottom of the hour, there's a hard break. All right, so we'll be in 4 segments. Just as a reminder, we got time. Go ahead.
Well, what really started all of this, because before this, I'm a mom, I have 5 kids, and I took a big, long fitness break. I was always pretty fit. I did athletics in high school. I had I was in the military, so I went through boot camp. You know, I was in very good physical shape, but then I had a long break to have my family. And actually, it was because I stayed at home with my kids, and when I finally went back to the workforce, I was cooking, and I started having shoulder pain from lifting these heavy ass hotel pans, you know, and my right shoulder hurt so bad that I couldn't even do push-ups anymore. If I did push-ups, I'd be in pain for days. So, and it was just something that hurt all the time. So I didn't feel like I could really get back into fitness. I didn't know what to do about it. I wasn't going to go to the doctor because it just felt weird. And I'm kind of pro-modern medicine, or not pro-modern medicine. I'm very anti. I think that you can heal your body. My mom was a herbalist, so we never went to the doctor for prescriptions. If somebody even had a puncture wound, she would literally clean it with peroxide and herbal poultices. And so, you know, I see where modern medicine has its applications, but I do think that the body heals itself. And so, since I've always had that philosophy, I was very deep into nutrition and studying nutrition end of things. So I got really into learning about like ketogenic protocols and stuff like that. That was back before everyone was into keto, and it was really just learning about metabolism and how your body works. So that's my nerdy stuff. That's what I do in my free time. I like to study nutrition and stuff like that. So there's that. But then with my shoulder hurting, I actually just started following this account, and this guy is teaching people how to do marketing. So it wasn't necessarily my stuff, but I watched him do this reel where he was like turning purple, and I was like, what the hell? He's holding his breath for 2.5 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was a smoker. So I was like, gosh, I can't even hold my breath for 12 seconds. What the hell, you know? And he mentioned the Wim Hof method. So when he mentioned Wim Hof, I was like, okay, wait a second. What is this method? I have to learn how to do this. So I found Wim Hof breathing, just a basic breathing on YouTube, and I did it. And here I am holding my breath for 1.5 minutes. So, which I mean, I ended up getting up much higher than that, but
yeah,
being
I was
able to
able
hold
to
my
crawl
breath
up
like that.
to 3 minutes at one point. I made it.
I think I was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I was really impressed with myself.
Yeah, so. 2 minutes and 30 seems to be like my average. Like it's getting those extra 15 to 30 seconds is where I can't get there. Right. I also don't do the ice bath stuff yet. I don't have enough Norse blood in me.
Well, I took his fundamentals course after that. So in his fundamentals course, he teaches you inflammation breathing. And I started using his inflammation breathing and directing all the oxygen and healing to my shoulder. And then he has you do Wim Hof push-ups, which is where you blow all the air out of your lungs, and then you do as many push-ups as you can without breathing in. And so all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try it. My shoulder doesn't feel like it's hurting I realized it like 2 days later that my shoulder hadn't been hurting like it always did. Like it's always there. So I decided to try the Wim Hof push-ups, and sure enough, I did 27 push-ups without taking a breath, and I didn't have any pain, and I didn't have any pain the next day or the next day. So there is something very powerful in just breathing and breathing deep and getting enough oxygen into your body and into your bloodstream and releasing those deposits of carbon dioxide in your blood. That goes very far in healing your body.
Yeah. There's also good things that it's doing for the brain because of how oxygen is penetrating the blood-brain barrier as a necessary function for you to be capable of having thought at all.
Yeah.
Man.
And you get high. Like, you literally get high. He says get high on your own supply, because people ask Wim Hof all the time about, like, well, what do you think about marijuana? It's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, but I said get high on your own supply. Just sit here and breathe, and you get, and I mean, amazing feelings. It's comparable to orgasm.
The way it regulates your heartbeat has a tremendous amount to do with that. And in meditation, for people who do pranic breathing in meditation, you can use focus once you've kind of tuned into your own body, and you can breathe in, quote unquote, into different parts of your body. You can do a particular inhale, and you'll feel the kind of like, it's kind of like a cool breeze on the energy field of your hand. When you breathe into it, you can breathe into your abdomen, you can breathe into your head, so on and so forth. And in those practices, that's moving your chi around, combined with the breath work, which is also important to qigong practice, is the pranic breathing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And then the ice bath of it all, because you have to do that in the fundamentals course. He conditions you by making you start with the last 30 seconds of your showers, turning it all the way cold, and just doing 30 seconds. So that's like your first week. And then your second week, you get up to a minute. And then the third week, you do 30 seconds at the beginning, and then your 60 seconds at the end. So he conditions you and gets you ready for it. And then when you do the ice bath, I don't know, I was kind of scared. Well, he'll have you do ice baths on your hands and feet first to get your capillaries, the micro muscles in your circulatory system, working really
Right.
like optimized.
Yeah.
So you do ice baths
I
with your hands and feet first.
Yeah, I definitely need to do it, because I think because if you want to talk about the biggest issue I need to work on is that these my hands, they go numb almost too easily over different things, and the worst, there's two things that are the worst of it. I lose sleep because I think I'm in a comfortable posture, and then a little bit later, my hand's going numb, it's in pain, and I have to completely sit up and sit there and wait and do nothing but dangle my arms and let blood flow down while 5 minutes got to go by and I can't get to bed, right? I got that problem, and I want to find out how to heal that. Those are the things that I'm looking for, because the other thing that kills me is that my hands will numb up when I'm playing guitar and deliberately destroy my ability to play a solo. And
so is it
that kills
like
my soul.
particular fingers, or is it your whole hand?
No,
Areas
it's
of your
just it's just that the circulation seems to get tensed up from me doing what I'm doing with it, which I have to hold the guitar a certain way,
Yeah.
So yeah, and I have to hold it that way for a while. So yeah, it's something that it's plagued me and set me back my whole life, and it's just one of the things I'm looking for that doesn't involve drugs and surgery.
Okay, but like when you're sleeping. So when you're sleeping, is it your entire hand, or is it like certain fingers, or?
It'll be the entire hand, because it's coming from something cut off higher in the arm, right? Like if I sleep on my back at the wrong angle, the circulation just gets cut off. It might be that I have a shitty bed. I don't know.
It could be, but I sometimes think even when it starts from up higher and travels down to your hands, a lot of times that is carpal tunnel. So, but I don't think that carpal tunnel and all that requires surgery. I think that there's always something that you can do to heal your own body. So
Yeah.
breath work, for one, you could actually do, I believe the inflammation breathing is like 20 or 40 breaths, 40 deep belly breaths, and then you hold it on the in breath. You hold instead of exhaling, you hold it on
3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hold it on the in breath, and you hold it for as long as possible, and direct with your brain where you want the oxygen to go. The mind-muscle connection, it's real in bodybuilding, so it's not far-fetched to believe that you can direct oxygen to a certain body part.
Right, exactly, which I'm talking about with the with the meditating, right?
Yeah.
And, I suppose I need to find a way to put that into my evening routine. That's a good suggestion. I should have thought of that. Thank you.
Yeah. So start with breathing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Start with breathing. That's what I tell people. When I was in the hospital, because I had a really weird high that healed me over, there was a guy having a crazy, he was acting a little bit like he was going to get violent. He was erratic with the nurse. He was putting me on edge, and my stomach still hurt. And I looked at him and said, like, dude, like, please take some advice for 3 seconds and stop and breathe slowly. In, hold, out, hold. Do that 2 more times. There. Don't you feel a little bit better? Pranic breathing. Thank you. And he had some reaction of impression, and that was it. I was just I was the magical wizard that walked into his life that one night in the hospital.
There you go.
That's my life.
Helping other people heal their timelines.
Exactly. And yeah. So the way you just said that, like healing timelines. Why don't you talk about how the things you've been doing has done that for you? Because we can go a little woo-woo. Actually, let's leave that as the cliffhanger, of course, because I said 3 minutes, then I forgot that I said 3 minutes. So the break is about to hit in just a moment, and we'll talk a little bit more about your metaphysical side too, which all this wraps together. We all know how I like to wrap it together in my own personal subject matter. And now I'm just letting the clock run for a second because I don't want it to rudely interrupt you in the middle of a good thought. And
yeah, if you interrupt me in the middle of a thought, then I'm never going to get it back. So.
Yeah.
I'm a little absent-minded.
Yeah. Oh, where are we at here? Okay, yeah, it should be coming up in just about 3 seconds. You're listening to our friend Abbie Johnson. This should be off air, almost. Yes. All right, everybody. So I'm going to assume that we are back. I saw some message in chat from some people that were doing a show prior that said, looks like the station is down. So I don't know if the station is down. I know that the vault system's working, and I'm making a recording for YouTube, and this could still archive, possibly, if, at the very least, the server is listening on the Skype end, and it's just simply not going out. So we'll keep on going. And I'm very grateful for the guests that have the time to come and work with us. All right, so
that doesn't sound good.
Yeah. No, I'm no, don't mind me. I'm just being weird.
Oh, I mean the technical issue.
Oh, it's been going on. It's been going on for a while, and it's. This is an independent station, and the hosts and the guys who Chris and Cherie, the couple that run it and do the heavy amount of the leg work because it's the servers with them. They're going through some stuff that I don't know how much of it they share, but I know that it's particularly Cherie. She's having her own health issues, and then Chris has to take care of her in some very heavy-duty ways. And so there's a whole lot going on, and the station's gone through a whole lot since the events of the Trump era and then the events of the pandemic. The station went through a lot of changes as different attitudes shifted with different members of staff, and different advertisers were pulling out, and censorship was making things difficult, and all that, right? So it's suffering for authenticity and bearing a burden, right? And that should be something that, I don't know, I want to help carry the burden, because I think this station did important things for consciousness before it got to this point.
I'm sure I believe it does. So
yeah. A A lot of
I say present
a
tense.
lot of underrated hosts lurk around here, and too many people fight with each other. And I kind of feel like I'm in Loki, and I'm trying to get everybody to get along with everybody, but the whole universe is going to collapse on itself first.
It's
Yeah,
called a pendulum, my friend. They gotta push it one way and push it the other. So it's not a bad thing.
yeah,
It seems bad, but
yeah. It's just
as long as you don't get
yeah.
involved, you hold the middle ground and you don't get sucked into the energy vortex of it all.
Right, right. I'm making my own energy vortex. You get sucked into mine, damn it.
That's right.
I've got the circle pit over there. That's the toilet. This is the circle pit. Oh my god, I love being 43, and now I'm in the pit after like losing all the weight, getting all the flexible, having all the muscle, and really like just like being up to par and not just being like this thick thing being thrown around.
And how much weight exactly did you lose?
I weighed myself actually today. I am 159 today, and I was 224 at the first weigh-in in October of 2021 when I started.
Wow. That is really significant. That's like losing a third grader.
Yeah. Yes, I know. And there's there's a lot that I worked out in the pain body that that's something. If you don't know any work in the that happens, there's a lot of new agers that do actually good work in it to be siphoned through, like healing the pain body, which does get deeply involved with yoga and how a deep stretch also goes through the pain body, because you're holding an emotional pain that is part of the manifestation of something like a cramp in your leg or whatever, right?
Right.
The kinds that are persistent, that feel like it's just this thing you got to live with, like a limp that makes no sense, even though it doesn't look like there's anything actually wrong with your bones, but you have to limp like that, right? It's
it's just the regular
stuff.
day-to-day injuries too, though, Zeralath. So it's like I argue with people all the time. I'm like, oh, you just twisted your ankle? Shoot, let me check my acupuncture part, and I'll tell you what's happening in your life. Or you can heal your life by Louise L. Hayes. She has a lot of the metaphysical connections to body parts, injuries, cancers, etc., and what they mean for emotional release, what limiting beliefs and what trapped emotions you have in your body. So, but it's not just the chronic illness and chronic pains. And I'll have people argue with me like, no, I just literally twisted my ankle. And I'm like, yeah, you twisted your ankle because you hurt your foot because you have a fear of moving forward in your life. They're like, well, how do you know that? Well, tell me I'm wrong.
Right. It gets into it's a how do you know that, because it's like I'm reading you on an unconscious level, and I'm a professional at it because I read the book.
Yeah. Same thing with knee pain. It's like my daughter was like, oh, man, all of a sudden it's weird. My knee just started hurting, and I was like, what are you feeling guilty about? And she goes, I am feeling guilty. I was like, told ya, because knee pain is usually affiliated with guilt feelings.
Right. Or my kidney stones. I was holding anger.
And the kidneys a lot of time have to do with fear and anxiety. So that's taking it back to the acupuncture chart of it all.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, because basically emotion is energy in motion. That's what it stands for. The E is energy in motion. And if it's not moving and you hold your breath, and it's like when you're angry, upset, scared, or whatever, you are literally not, it's supposed to pass through you. You should allow emotions, you feel them, and you let them pass through you, which is why breathing is important, because when you hold your breath, and usually you do when you're angry or sad or feeling a powerful emotion, you're trapping it in your body. So it still exists there. This energy is supposed to be moving. It's a sine wave. And if it's not moving out of your body, it causes dis-ease, which is literally disease if you spell dis-ease. So
yes,
it causes
separation
disease
from
manifest in your body.
Yeah, it means separation from comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that, and you'll feel it. You can feel this. Any person that's ever had, if you have a memory from being a child, like being in fourth grade and like farting in front of the whole class or whatever, and you remember it and you are like, oh my God, you still feel the shame of it. And then you sit there and think, why am I even thinking about this? Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. But you have that emotional trigger still. You still have the embarrassment attached with the memory. That means that you trapped the emotion in your body, and it's literally making you sick still. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it's still there. So you have to go in to the memory, release the emotion in it, like allow it to be what it was, breathe it out. Sometimes you have to tap on your body to physically move it out. You can pound and tap and it'll help release it, or massage, or, yoga, same idea. And then when you do that, it helps you can look back on the memory and you don't feel the shame. You could actually maybe just laugh about it and not laugh at it like in a mocking way. You just know that it wasn't a big deal. It's a memory. It's not affiliated with any sort of pain in the body.
Yeah. It's for me, because I've been in that position, and for me it was things that I said, this is me, and I was lying to myself, like not that all of this was me, but that like this thing is a part of me, right? This aspect of what you're pointing out about me that's a problem. No, that's me. You're insulting me. But I was letting it be. I was defending this straw man fallacy of myself that was associated with things that I needed to grow up about, learn, stop being naive, stop poisoning yourself, things of this nature, learning to fall out of love with bad habits, toxic people.
Yeah. And I noticed that especially with artists, they have a hard time of letting go of identifying as all these things. And they feel like their pain is part of their identity and their art comes from that, so they can't create without it. And it's like, but what if you created from a different place? Why does it always have to be the pain and the torment that's causing you issues in every other area of your life, including your health?
Yeah. It's very clear thing in music, right? Like as a metalhead, that's a scene that has a particular art aesthetic, and then there are people that love their identity with it. I do love my identity with it. Being a metalhead is one of those things that I wasn't lying to myself when I said, yes, I am. Because I knew it was something that was comfortable with my soul. Now, reconciling all the Satan and stuff, growing up as a Christian, that took some time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then finding heathenism and all that stuff. But a certain kind of artist, they're going to make all sorts of interesting decisions with art when it either becomes about wanting to be simply different from the scene for the sake of your own exploring, or if you're actually making a deliberate choice to sell out, right? And then that kind of can become like the conversation within those circles about differences. I bumped into a guy, we were talking about Machine Head, the band, because they were the headliners, and he talked about how he used to be friends with the band because he's like a big, like one of the cool guys in the scene that people like to work with or whatever. And he had gone into some communist kind of like diatribe on stage at a certain point because he got triggered by the world, and he fell out of support for him for him using his art and changing the meaning of the band from being apolitical and about something that was more of a universal message to be interpreted into saying, yeah, no, we're going to be commies now, right? Because, and I'm pretty sure it was an orange man bad thing, going to shows was getting obnoxious because it was, everybody had to be infected with somebody who hated Trump. It's just like you're looking at the big screen and like all the heavy metal images, a lot of them are showing like, Trump as a demon in a non-flattering metal way to, as a satire of hatred of him and all that stuff. And everybody's like looking at it like, yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, he's like that. He's ugly like that. Right? And it was interesting watching that toxicity come into the scene, and now it's just great because it's not there anymore, and people can just be cool, and it's
good.
It's back to normal. And I know a lot of people got jabbed in the scene, but we're not. Our scene also isn't dealing with all of our artists having a case of the suddenlies. So we're winning. We're winning.
Well, I hope so. That's the whole point of the secret society of good guys. If there's all these bad things, there's got to be a good counterpart, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where we step in.
Yeah.
We all got to be the good guys.
Even before, theoretically, the white hats were taken seriously as a thing within the Q concept and the Trump concept. I had tried to bank on the idea that they're, the only conspiracy bigger than the conspiracy to take over the world is the conspiracy to liberate it. Because I look at the history, it's like, dude, we've been exploited and conquered and ignorantized for so damn long to an epic before history is known, that obviously I think we're looking at a story of just crawling out of that in increments as we grow wiser.
And it's repeated in everything, in fiction, in mythology. It's the Ouroboros. We just keep seeing the same shit over and over and over again. It's just recycled in a slightly different format. It's like watching like a modern day production of Romeo and Juliet, but I've also seen one that was supposed to be set in the 1940s, which was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But then you can just watch the classical production as well, where they're in the 1400s garb. You're seeing the same play over and over again.
But hey, Romeo and Juliet from the 90s or whatever with DiCaprio.
Yeah,
that was a legit film. That was a cool.
It was very. The cinematography was great. It was a good rendition.
Indeed. Yeah. I really dug, even though the casting choices are what they are, I don't think they were trying to be wokefully insultful, was The Green Knight, which the only thing that was bugging me was just like, okay, those guys are pretty darn tan for Germanics, Welsh types, Celts. They're pretty darn, I don't know, Middle Easty. I
have not seen The Green Knight.
But they weren't like making it like that's what they were. You were being asked to forget their race and just say that these are that these people are acting, right? And because the film overall I think is compelling and interesting and worth talking about on a different show. But I'm just bringing this up because we're having it's just kind of a little bit of a weave going,
Oh yeah, that's the way I like to do it. I like weaving, thanks to the weaving spiders. So
yeah.
It just makes conversation more interesting when it's allowed to flow instead of when it always has to stay on topic. So we've done a pretty good job staying on topic.
Yeah, we have, and I really outlined the show in my head. I didn't write too much down, but that's mostly because my mind has been dwelling on the subjects that I'm having you on for the last 3 years anyway. Like longer than that, when I was just like kind of more studying it and then trying it here and there, right? Not committing to it because I felt like the world had come to an end and I was going to get buried alive in it.
That was during the whole
That was
2020 era?
yeah. That was like, the for people that have known me for a long time, have listened to certain, vlogs that I've done, because remember, I'm on like my third YouTube channel. Technically my
Okay.
fourth, but I'm on my third YouTube channel. One I'm locked out of because it's before the time of passcodes, and so I can't retrieve anything, and I can't get a hold of YouTube to get it. And then I had one that I lost because I committed digital seppuku, and then I had one that I lost for censorship in 2022, and then I'm on this one now. So some
Okay.
people would have to have remembered times where I've talked about the horror show of my experience of 2020 from where I was as a different man.
I feel like that was a turning point for a lot of us. Probably most of us. We all remember that year pretty significantly, and we remember where we were versus where we are now. And for me, it was definitely catalyst for growth. So,
Yeah.
And same for you. So,
Yeah.
So, as much as we all want to talk about the shit show that it was, it actually, in my mind, it did me a lot of favors.
Right. Yeah, and it did. It did a lot of favors for me too. Right. So like there's times where I talk about those aspects of it because there's a lot of things I like about the wake of the world that we're living in now, because a lot of other things have had room to happen without certain forces that were against it that aren't here anymore. And I'm not talking about because a person died. I'm talking about an idea died or something like that, right? One of the ones I like to brag about because I was an activist for it for years was cannabis reform in the state of Connecticut. Now I can go and buy excellent herb at a corner store the town next over, and everybody's cool.
Oh, so you have dry counties?
There's there's dry there's parts of it's like there's certain guys that are getting away with I guess loopholes or something, because certain places are struggling to be in a position to sell weed, and then others aren't, and then some are under full-blown license. And so it's been these interesting dynamics. I'll walk into a store it's obviously a head shop, and I'm just like, "Yo, you got herb here?" And it's just like, "No, not yet." Right? And I don't probe into it too much because, I know a lot of shops are still neurotic about raids, as they should be. It's just like, the Mark Passio in me, rises up whenever I hear about a raid on certain places.
It's wild. In Oklahoma, it's not legal for just any person to go buy, but it is legal medically. But we have the craziest medical laws. Like I know other states that regulate how much you can buy, and in Oklahoma, if you have your medical card, you can buy whatever the hell you want in any amount you want, pretty much. I mean, you might have a cap for the day, but it's literally for the day. It's not
right.
You can go into another head shop and buy more. And the wild thing is that each of these dispensaries, each town, so like my small town, I can probably count 7 or 8, and we have a population of 6,000. I know that a neighboring town, which is probably less than 1,000 people, they don't have a grocery store. They have 1 gas station, but they have 3 dispensaries. So, and the truth is that a lot of the pot smokers don't even want it legal because once it's legal, it's going to be taxed. So right now, the prices are so low, it's insane that why would they want it to be legal and then have to watch price gouging happen?
Well, one of the simpler, explanations about it is that the problem is that the system of needing to call a guy on his own private low key time to be able to deliver the goods for you and to deal with that whole arrangement. And then like that guy's got his own life. It's just like before all this happened, one of my very good friends also was my guy. And so we had plenty of times where we hung out together, and it worked out that way, right? It is, people don't want to be just like running around saying, hey, you know a guy, you know a guy, you know a guy, right? They just want to have something that's set up so they don't have to waste their time feeling like a criminal.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a big part of why you ended up having these weed networks, because, if Johnny Depp wants to get high, Johnny Depp doesn't run around asking, you know a guy, you know a guy, you know a guy. He gets his agent who will blackmail him later, who knows a guy, and he gets paid to have the time to go get the shit and then control Johnny Depp. Right. And then that's how all that works.
Yeah, it's a whole different world we're living in.
Exactly. But those of us with wisdom, I think we're going to have our ability to succeed and be masters in it.
Yeah.
Because they don't have an argument against us anymore. Because the imaginary thing that they said that we were only exists on the internet, which isn't a real place.
Well, I'd like to argue because all my internet friends are my real friends. They're more real than a lot of the people I know in my day-to-day life. So that's like something I feel like we do have to alchemize, is the idea that internet relationships with people aren't real. Because, again, the secret society of good guys, the people I podcast with, I can be more real with than people that I know in my day-to-day world, where I have to wear the mask of the education IT or, the mask of mom. I get to actually be more authentic.
Yeah. With social media, you can eavesdrop on 50 different gossip threads at the same effing time, revolving around the same different 3 or 4 networks of people that are organized and trying to accomplish something at any given time. And then within 3 months, somebody says, you suck, you're a cult leader, I'm out. And it's ridiculous. And so it makes it really hard for guys like us to handle what we want to do and also be inspired to do things like what we're doing now, putting time to share our testimony with the world in an effective way to help people solve their problems. That's my approach with when I choose to make any content, is to get something that helps somebody out there.
Absolutely. That's back in my hardcore Bible thumping Christian days, I felt the need to save other people's souls, and I thought,
Yeah, me too.
I'm trying to help them get to heaven, because I don't want anybody to burn in hell. Well, I'm not at that place anymore. I now think that, you're all God.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And while we're all God, God's going to take a 3-minute break that he's forced to by Saturn. All right, we'll be right back, folks. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is the top of the hour on TFR Live. Listen to Try Genesis with me, Zeralath, and my guest today is Abbie from the Secret Society of Good Guys. You guys would remember a couple of weeks back, I had Chaney of Project Chaney and also Secret Society of Good Guys. And so I'm friends with a handful of the guys there. I still need to make Paranoid American's acquaintance, but I think I know everybody else I know everybody else but Paranoid. So yeah, and I hope to have all you guys on. I haven't talked to Gordy in a hot minute, but yeah. Let's see. We were I was about to ask you something. Where were we at at the end of the break there.
I just said everyone's God.
That's right. Everyone's God, and that was the cliffhanger.
Yeah. But if you ask me to remember where I was going with it, that's a whole other question, and I won't remember that. So
Right. So yeah. So I think let's talk a little bit about nutrition, right?
okay.
Nutrition is like because everybody's heard lots of spiels from the vegans, and they've heard lots of spiels from the organic persons and everything else. But there's different ways you can go about different things, because like me, I started whey protein and creatine, and that works for me, and I don't really need, I think, to take any other crazy supplements. And so like, what do you do nutritionally most of the time to keep your body up and everything else?
I eat on a macronutrient plan, which you have the micronutrients, which is your vitamins, vitamin E, vitamin D, all of those. And then sodium, sugar, all that. But then you have your macronutrients, and your three macronutrients are carbohydrates, fat, and protein. And so I eat to build and sustain muscle, unless I'm getting ready for a show, and then I'm eating to reduce body fat. So the way that this works is that you have to eat a high level of protein, and here's the thing. I don't care who you are, you're probably not eating enough protein, because your body needs enough protein to sustain the muscle that's already in your body. So I eat roughly, I'm going to say around 130 to 140 grams of protein a day, and I weigh 131 pounds. So it's a little over 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And that's split up over 5 meals or 6 meals, depending on, it's usually 5 meals if if my hunger isn't as bad. But when your hunger is really bad, then you'll switch it to 6 meals, so that way you can eat a little bit more frequently throughout the day. So you don't eat all your protein in one meal. You eat it spread out. And yeah, I do supplement with whey protein isolate. I like 2 meals. I don't really do protein bars or anything like that. The rest of my protein comes from eggs, egg whites, turkey, and chicken mostly. So, but that's protein is the micronutrient or the macronutrient that you need to sustain your muscle. So a lot of time when you're losing weight, people think that they're losing body fat, and it's not synonymous. Losing weight typically, like people who are doing Ozempic and stuff, they start to look saggy, and the reason why they're looking saggy is not because they lost weight so rapidly, it's because their body is starving, and when your body is starving, it becomes catabolic. And when it's catabolic, that means you're burning your muscle tissue to sustain the energy levels your body needs. So they're not even burning fat. They're just burning their muscle. They're burning through their muscle mass.
Yeah,
and you need the muscle mass to look good.
Yeah. Basically, unless you're like a cyclist or like a runner or something, you don't want to do that. You know, because like that's why they talk about, oh, he's got a runner's body or whatever. It's because he's nothing but lean muscle, right? Yeah, I mean, me, I'm going for hybrid, right? Because like me, like I said, I'm into the performance of it a whole lot. So I want to be able to jump across something and then grab something, and then hoist myself up, and can I do parkour, right? Can I parkour my ass? In a built fashion, and then on top of that, also being capable of MMA, right? Of being able to fight, using my legs and my arms. And those are my goals. That and having abs. Those are my goals.
I would love to fight, but then I'm so weird about my teeth that I'm like, maybe I wouldn't want to fight. I don't want to be punched in the face. So maybe it's not my thing.
Well, at the very least, you should at least train to like spar with someone, so that way you're not going to get hurt. Like I got my buddy, he's my trainer, and like, I'll go on the whole jam. I put on the wraps, I put on the gloves. I recently got a jaw guard, which I don't need unless we're sparring, but like, he'll have the pads, and we'll run the drills. Or I've got my punching bag in the backyard, and learning how to strike
Backyard
well.
wrestling.
Yeah, learning to strike well. Learning proper form in a kick. That's one of my big literal Achilles heels is getting the roundhouse kick right. It's that kind of stuff, and that will also that'll put striking power into your muscles. It'll work on your nervous system response. It's that.
For sure. Yeah.
And when I said that, I for those on radio, I was doing a quick left cross and showing how my arm forced out and then recoiled back to form immediately.
Yeah. There's a lot to it, but that's like, and now I would love to train at like a gym like that, but bodybuilding takes up so much of my time.
Yeah, for sure. Because your goals got to go for you're getting those competitions are about the shape of your body, like the way the muscles are, as much as it's also about your achievement in lifting, right?
Well, your achievement in lifting really has nothing to do with it. It is completely aesthetic. So they are looking at your body. So you're being judged by your body. So it doesn't matter how much I lift in the gym. It matters because without progressive overload and without me every week adding more weight or adding more reps, I'm not going to change my physique. So, and I compete in a category called wellness. And in wellness, we wear the crystal bikinis, but you have to, like, they say wellness is one from the back because wellness girls are all about having very big, thick thighs and large glutes. So we have shoulders. I don't really work upper body anymore, but I have nothing but leg days. But the goal is to have a very predominant lower body. So they are looking at my muscle mass, they're looking at my muscle tone, but then they look at your overall look too. So your hair matters, your makeup matters, your suit color matters, it's all the little things. So you can look at it as a muscle beauty pageant.
Yeah. I was about to say it's basically that, right? Yeah. I was thinking like, you could probably cosplay Chun-Li. For the Street Fighter thing, and that'll work, which is why you need to learn how to do a spinning kick.
Well, I just want to learn a spinning kick so I could be a badass.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about being able to turn your hip over, right? So you have to have extraordinarily good balance, and then you also have to be accustomed to hip mobility and flexibility, as well as applying the power as you're torquing yourself, along the lower spine to come across and strike on the bag. And I'm still working that out. I probably didn't even explain. Probably the way I explained it, somebody's probably looking at me and saying like, he don't even know what he's doing, because that's not how you explain that, right? Because that's how.
unless you did paint a really good visual picture to the people who do know, and they're like, oh yeah.
I'm working my way up to being like in a gym with a trainer, getting like an hour a week in of like, in the ring or something, right, to practice. I'm working on it, getting there. It's money.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, you don't get anywhere by not trying. So, eventually you'll break the glass barrier and it'll click like, oh, that's what I was missing. And that's how you do it.
Yeah. So with the poses in particular, those poses are all designed for flex, right? So you're making those postures so they can see muscle contour, right?
Yes. So we don't do the traditional double bicep poses and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not even allowed to work my upper body anymore because it's too big. So I am supposed to have rounded delt caps, which I do have some big shoulders. They're not pumped right now, so they don't look very big on the video, but trust me, they're massive. Yeah. But we do work our backs because you want the nice hourglass shape. So you're trying to grow your little wings and stuff. So those are important, but really what you're highlighting, like in my category for your poses, is the nice round large glute and what they call the tie-in area, because from the backside it'll look like your glute or your butt for everyday average people should look like a teardrop in my category, where it ties into the hamstring. It doesn't really tie in, it just has the appearance of it.
Yeah. I saw from all the pictures that Chaney forces me to look at.
My butt has become the icebreaker. Like it clears the air. It's like the sage in the room.
Yeah,
when we're on Secret Society of Good Guys.
Yeah, it's like what my nipples used to do before I became like really handsome. Then I became really handsome and nobody wanted to see them anymore. So that's life. That's life. The more handsome you get, the more they complain about your chest. It's funny.
Well, the prettier I get, the more my chest goes away too. So. And I'm okay with that because I have a great peach. So you just gotta have one or the other.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, like I've seen some interesting footage. I didn't know how to share it with you at the time. I was watching this one thing where this girl was doing all this crazy stuff, and she was like full figured at the same time. Not even like heavy set, but like just like maybe like the build of a dwarf with no beard for a female dwarf, right? She was like that. Very impressive. I was mildly excited by watching it.
That's funny.
Yeah. So for those flexes, like so all those postures, are any of them kind of difficult? Like I'm kind of obnoxiously like trying to see if there's a yoga thing that would be associated, because I asked earlier about like oh well, maybe check out yoga because it'll help you with your poses. Are there any poses that are very like they seem like they're kind of like hard to do? To hit.
They're all hard to do because you're twisting and contorting your body while trying to keep your waist in as tight as possible and flex this muscle, but don't flex that one. It's a lot of that. I would show, but I don't know if my camera's in the right spot. But even the back pose where I'm just sticking my glutes out, it's all about completely rounding your spine, but keeping your torso up and your back muscles and everything pretty flexed, while not flexing your glutes, but not flexing your hamstrings. So there's a lot to it, but the whole just curvature of your spine, I had to spend a lot of time like laying down on a foam roller. And, now I can move my spine a little bit more. I still don't have great back flexibility though. There's some women who have like hypermobility on their back, and it's kind of amazing to see what they can do with their spine, but I'll lay on one of those.
There's some of the people that I do my group yogas with. They do incredible stuff, including my yoga instructor, and I'm starting to gain the bragging rights of being like her best yogi.
Oh, that's awesome!
This is
that is a bragging right.
This big beast right here gets the job done. And But yeah, no, like with yoga and all, like I'll show you, right? So I'm gonna do something visual that will be appreciated on the YouTube. So one of the yoga moves that is basically like the achievement you want to get to have like that ability to do that back bend on the spine is the well, there's actually two that work. I'll show both of them actually. It's the wheel and then the camel. So the wheel is fun because that's just on your. Let me see here. Got to make sure. Let's angle this down a pinch, and let's see if I can be seen.
I can see you.
Abbie, you can see me? All right.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
So if you're doing that, you're on your back.
Laying down on the floor with his knees bent.
Yep.
And putting his arms behind his head. Looks like he's like a spider. And pushing up into a back bend.
Yeah. Whoops. I was going to try and do a thing. I can't do that thing yet. All right.
So that's the wheel?
That's the wheel.
Okay.
Because you're kind of, it's like you're trying to bend backwards like into a donut, right? And then the camel is done on your knees, and this is where you're reaching back to your heels.
Okay. So he's like laying with his legs, his forelegs, like his calves on the floor, bending back and reaches his arms around to grab his heels with his head in a neutral position.
Yeah. So those are, you get there from doing a lot of things like your basic cat-cow is where you start to work on that kind of spinal flexibility, which is understood from being in tabletop, sometimes called all fours, but a lot of people don't like to say that because people are silly. And then you're just making a sine wave with your back, basically, just up and down, and you're breathing in when your belly is down, and you're breathing out when
you hollow your spine and curve it upward. Yeah, see, these would all be helpful for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Spinal stuff, just start with that, and the spinal stuff is also going to help your Kundalini flow.
All right.
Yeah, I'll send you some stuff on that after the show.
Awesome. It's great.
And,
thank you.
And all, I mean, like, you've seen my video. Well, I'm not going to talk about me now, but you've seen my 20-minute yoga video. All that stuff is kind of in there.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I'll eventually be making a better production version of that once I can get outside in decent weather.
Yeah, it's not quite the season, is it?
Not yet. It's too cold. I'm not Viking enough. It's just too cold.
You're not Wim Hof enough.
Not Wim Hofing it.
He'd be out there in the splits doing, his yoga in bare feet and board shorts.
Yeah. Don't get me started. I can do splits too.
Oh wow, I'm impressed because I can't. Like my flexibility is not. It's one thing I really should work on that I don't.
Yeah. Hey, listen. You don't have to be Dalsim. I'm making more Street Fighter references because I'm a nerd. But do things that are going to serve your goals. And winning those bodybuilding competitions are your goals. Do just what you got to do to strike that pose better than you've ever struck it before.
But half of my issue, because when I was at my last national show and I watched my video, I laughed so hard because I didn't smile at all. And that's a huge part of it. It's like, it's not even just your body. It's the facial gestures too. So it's all of these little nuanced things. It's so frustrating. And then when you're up on the stage, it's like, you're trying to remember, like I walked out and in my head, what I started doing is, so I can nail my walk out, because they're judging you the second you're on the stage. So when you're walking, you better walk like you own the place. So in my head, I go, it's Brittany, bitch. And then my eyes like turn different. And then I walk out and I'm Brittany for like, till I walk into the square right in front of the judges. And the second I saw the judges, I was like, oh, like I wasn't Brittany anymore.
Oh,
I woke up.
yeah. I get
You're in
it.
headlights.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, dude, like yoga, like there's one thing for the face that's there for yoga. You scrunch your face and then you open your face. And so if you're looking at my face, it's as simple. It's literally as easy as this. Everything's scrunched up together.
Aren't you supposed to go, or something when you do that?
You stick out your tongue. You just like you're going from your eyes are sealed shut, your mouth is sealed shut, and chin's tight, and you're scrunching your muscles in towards your nose, and then you open it up like your Kali Ma. You're just and in yoga class we even do that. We go
I do face yoga, actually. That's one thing I do because
okay, there you go.
Because that's what people don't realize too, is that part of your face aging is the fact that it is all muscle. You have muscle on your face and on your head. It's all, you have meat everywhere. Anywhere you have meat, like that's a place that you can work out. And a lot of the sagging and the wrinkles come from like the way that you move that muscle repetitively over time. And so it's not that you shouldn't use the muscle, it's that maybe you need to exercise it and use it in a different way. For example, like when you open your eyes, there's two ways to open your eyes wide. You can either open your eyes wide and just use your eyes, like I'm doing here, or you can open your eyes wide by lifting your eyebrows, which wrinkles my forehead. And that's how your forehead wrinkles are created, because people are using their muscle on their forehead to open their eyes instead of their actual eye muscles to open them. So there's all these things that you do repetitively over time that contribute to a wrinkled, sagging look. If you work out any muscle in your body, it's not going to sag. It's going to get tight and firm. So there is face yoga. So there's a lot of exercises you can just do for your face. And I'm not great about it, but I notice like when my neck starts to look like aged, I'm like, oh shit. So then I'll start doing some of my face yoga poses, which are like, a lot of them are, and you're doing little things like that.
Yeah.
Or sticking your tongue out and moving it side to side. You're exercising the muscles in your chin and in your neck. So. And then, after like 3 days of being consistent, it looks good again until, a couple weeks later when I need to do it again. So it's if I did it every day, I probably would never have the issue.
Working my neck is very, very important to me because as a metalhead, the way I enjoy my music requires neck work. Lots and lots of neck work. And when I play my guitar, it's neck work because if you're not bobbing your head to this music, then you don't have a soul. That's kind of like the way it is, right? So so I'm constantly putting myself in a state of being prepared to not experience whiplash, because that allows me to continue to enjoy these crazy things that I do.
Yeah, I remember us like experimenting with headbanging and stuff when we were little kids, and man, my neck would hurt so bad afterwards. So I don't know how those rock stars do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how they do it. Maybe they're just lucky. But me, I have to do all these different kinds of stretches. Like I'm doing one right now where I'm pulling my shoulder away from my right ear, my right shoulder away from my right ear, while I'm pulling the right side of my head all the way to the left, and then that's stretching all the muscles, between the neck and the shoulder, and then doing that in the other side, and then pushing it up in the chin, down, with my hands compressing just over the crown, giving it little twists. And then things like head rolls when you're standing, Doing head rolls when you're in tabletop pose are also very good, just because the gravity is different and you can work out different stress points from the angles that you're operating with.
Yeah, I've always had issues with my neck if I overdo exercises with my neck. Like, I remember sports and stuff, they'd make us do neck rolls, and then my neck would hurt afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's it takes it takes time to build it. One of like I found it interesting. My studies in the nutritional journey. 30 seconds, by the way. It's that like you can not just build the tensile strength of your muscles, but you're also building the tensile strength of your of all your other connective tissue, and you can even improve the tensile strength of your bones by putting them under a certain amount of pressure. And
Wow.
that was why, because I didn't know that bones could be improved. We're going to hit our break right now. We're going to see each other in 3 minutes.
All right.
Okay, I think we're back. How's it going, everybody? It is Trigenesis on TFRLive.com. You're listening to Zeralath, and my guest tonight is Abbie from the Secret Society of Good Guys. You know her, and she's a professional bodybuilder who also has a lot of the same knowledges in spirituality and the body that I do, and we're exchanging knowledge on this show, and me giving Abbie a chance to talk about all of her incredible talents, which I think are an inspiration that a lot of people ought to hear, to know about all the things that one can.
Sarah, I'm having an
do
issue
for
with my
themselves.
audio, so give me a second.
Oh yeah, no worries. What's wrong with your audio? Hang on, folks. Abbie's fixing her audio. Let's see. You're like, so on my end for Zoom, it looks good.
Oh, it was my Bluetooth decided to connect to my phone instead of so I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had that happen. I know what that's like. Got it. Okay, cool. All right, no. All right, so I was just reiterating the introduction of you, real brief, and just explaining that I think that your work is going to be something I hope can inspire a lot of people to know what they can do for themselves.
Really, whatever you can imagine, and not just imagine, but like whatever you can visually picture, you can create a mental picture of, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want to do. I haven't always looked like this, and I would say that I sped up the process very well by applying, one of my big inspirations, which was reality transurfing. It's a work by Vadim Zealand, and by applying his principles, which are very, very basic, don't require a lot of meditation or anything like that, I was able to transform my body in a very short amount of time. So,
and this was it was a meditation practice that was able to get you to just take action. Is that what it was?
Sort of. Really, it's not a lengthy meditation. He teaches you that the world, the reality that we see, is a reflection, and it's a mirror. This is all a mirror. So you can't change the mirror by trying to change the thing that's being reflected. You have to change the mirror from the opposite end. Mm-hmm. So if I want to change physically what I see in the mirror, then I have to change it, not by changing the image, the projected image, which is my body. I do it by changing my mind and how I perceive it. So I didn't have to do a big old long meditation, though you can, because Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches something very similar, and he has really long meditations, and they're very, very effective. The problem I have is I don't have the attention or the time for it. So I'm not going to sit and do a lengthy meditation every single day. I do like to do them on occasion when I have the time. And I want to spend the time in, a manifestation mode where I'm trying to reach the quantum of it all and apply the observer effect into my own life. But the easier method is taught in reality transurfing, and it really is just choosing a moment. So like if all this is a film roll, like say we're on a film, then I'm going to choose a moment in the future where I'm going to switch the film roll to be what I want to be. So so for me it was I wanted to be muscly, firm, curvy though, and then no cellulite. Like I had these different like ideas, and I was able to picture this version of myself, the best version of myself, just intensely enough. You just have to choose one moment. So like if you shut down a frame on a film roll and just look at one moment, one picture, and you imagine the emotions, you imagine what it feels like, what it looks like, all the sensory input, and it doesn't require long. You can do this in literally like a minute or two. And I just did it more than once. I'd do it as often as I needed to do it until I believed that it was possible. So then once that possibility is thrown out there and I've decided that intention, things just lined up. All of a sudden I did this life coaching class with our friend Owen Hunt, Bootsy Greenwood. And through him I met a strength coach, who kind of took me on free of charge, and so I started back in the gym, and then from there I met a girl who in this tiny town happened to be a bodybuilder and told me about her posing coach. So I hired a posing coach, and then I hired an actual bodybuilding coach. But as this went, a lot of people, it takes some years and years and years, and it literally took me no time at all. It just, everything fell into place. I didn't have to plan how it was going to happen. This isn't like goal setting where you have to make it short and measurable and, break it off into chunks. I literally just chose what I wanted, and then I let reality take control. It took the reins, and everything happened just as it should in a shorter amount of time. And I'm a 44-year-old mother of 5 children, and I transformed my body to be badass. So nobody can say that you can't do it because of this and you can't do it because of that. And I've had 2 C-sections. So there's so many reasons why I could say that this wasn't possible for me. But if it's possible for me, it's possible for anyone. And all I had to do was choose it. And I chose myself, and I decided that this body it should be loved. Every person, you should get to love your body once in your lifetime, period. Your body deserves it because it's here, it's your vessel, and it freaking gets you through this life. So in order to do that, you have to show up for it. You have to decide that it's worth it instead of making the excuses why it's not. Like, oh, I'd rather eat these Cheez-Its. I can't believe you eat the same food every single day. I'd rather have these Cheez-Its. Well, I want to love my body. I want to look good naked. I want to be around and be healthy. I want to be healthy, like, for my whole life. I don't want to have dependence on a whole bunch of drugs every single day just to be old and decrepit and still shit my pants. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have quality of life.
I push just a little extra harder so I can have Cheez-Its.
Oh, trust me, I get a cheat meal once a week, and I definitely overindulge. Like last night was my cheat meal. I got Panda Express, but before I ate, I had to go to the gym and do my workout before I could eat it. But on the way home from the gym, I was like, dude, my cheat meal's right now. So I stopped and got like a big old milkshake, and I got cheese tots. Then I came home and ate my Panda Express, and probably about 10 to 12 cookies. Yeah. So, trust me, I overdo it sometimes. When I get to, I do.
Last night was my cheat because I was in the Bronx after a show, and I had I have like the mosh pit hunger because I've been in the mosh pit, and that's a very, very long hit cardio workout. The mosh pit's amazing for that. So I went to White Castle because I was in the Bronx. So yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. I've never eaten at a White Castle. I've just had the White Castle burgers in the freezer section, and those are pretty amazing.
Yeah. If you get a chance to go to a quality White Castle, you definitely want to go to like a proper White Castle, and the one I went to is the one I always go to in the Bronx. That's just off of 278, and they renovated inside. It looked a little bit nicer. I didn't feel as much that I was going to get stabbed as last time I was there.
Well, that's good. It's those big guns you got.
No. It was they honestly cleaned up. They honestly cleaned up the place. But my big guns, I'm sure, made somebody step off.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, I ran around Times Square with my shirt off last night because I'm still getting the steam of the pit off of me. I put it on by the time I got to the subway, but I enjoy that kind of thing. Like I like some girls don't know, and I shock them when I tell them, it's actually legal for women to be completely topless in New York if they want it to be. It's like, it's not an arrestable offense. Like, in public.
Wow.
Like, you can't go in a store that way, but, like, you're walking down the street, you can be tits out. They did it during protests.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to do that. I'd want, like, the black electrical X's over my nipples or something.
Right. Yeah. I discovered that was not an arrestable offense because of the Occupy movement. Like, that's when I first learned it, because a lot of the feminists were getting behind the left wing side of the Occupy movement, and so they were tits out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. My mom was a breast cancer person and a hippie, so I grew up like I had to beg my mom to buy me a bra. She wasn't gonna do it, and so same thing with shaving my legs. Oh my gosh, that was a war.
Oh.
And shaving my armpits.
Jeez.
So, yeah, she would have totally got behind the whole topless thing. But then after her breast cancer, she felt like she shouldn't have to wear a top ever because she's like, she had a double mastectomy. She's like, bitch, please, I ain't got no nipples. I should be able to, walk around without a shirt on.
Right. It's a funny thing, it's just like I don't want to sound like a Muslim guy, but it's just like that's incredibly we're all primordially gonna feel something about that, whether any of us like it or not. I don't know if we got a right to like stir primordial feelings about whether I find that attractive or disgusting, right?
But you're triggering me one way or the other, so
right, exactly.
And then don't bitch about it because what you're doing.
Right, because like women don't talk about men's nipples the same way that men just talk about the breast and everything about it overall.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't see men's nipples all that often.
I know.
Very common for a guy to go without a shirt.
I wish there was a law against me wearing a shirt like right now, but I feel like I must at this point. I'll go back to reading Heidegger and take my shirt off there where nobody's around.
Well, I don't like to work out in a shirt.
Yeah.
I'm one of those weird people, and it's not because I want people to look at me, which, look at me if you want to, that's fine. But that's not the point. The point, like, see, I'm wearing a sports bra right now.
Right.
Like, this is what I'll work out in a little bit. But I don't like to wear, I'm there to sweat, yes, but I do not like my sweats, like in a sweaty shirt clinging to my stomach. It grosses me out. And I also don't like armpit sweat stains, or the feeling of armpit sweat on a t-shirt. It grosses me out. So I don't mind sweating. I like to do it. I like working out. I like working hard, but I don't like clingy, wet clothing.
Yeah. Look, I get straight Roman about it. It's just like, I make sure that everything's secure down here. And then I'm just nutting. And I'm working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same I do cardio. I have to wear a waist trainer, and that I will sweat. But again, it's still not like wet cotton. So.
Yeah. It's just like I have my yoga mat, and I wash down my yoga mat when I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
Then I go take a shower.
It's not so bad that way.
That's right. So, I'm also now I'm thinking to myself, because we talked a little bit about nutrition. Um, there's also other elements too. Like I almost want to say like things like skincare, for example. Like what's some other ways that you take care of your body, to keep it at optimal performance, and then jumping into those competitions too.
Exfoliation is huge. So, like, not just your body, but your face. You have to exfoliate pretty often. It keeps, your skin looking good. But going into a competition, the weird thing that nobody tells you about is that you have to shave your entire body. You can't have any body hair. And that's as a woman too. So that's not me having like black, thick body hair everywhere. That's literally like just your little peach fuzz on your arm. It's got to go. On your neck, it's got to go. On your back, it's got to go. So, people don't tell you that. And you would think that it wouldn't be much or be difficult to shave your entire body, but if you don't shave your entire body all the time, it can literally take you like an hour or two to do it. It's the longest shower of your life because it's a ton of peach fuzz and it just clogs up your razor. So you're constantly like, you have to go over your body like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
And they
well,
do that
like
because
peach
you have to get
fuzz
that
too.
dark spray tan.
Yeah.
And the spray tan doesn't sit right if you have hair on your body.
Gotcha. And so even the little, just like, because like like people aren't going to even notice that, right? But like, I guess because of the spray tan. Yeah.
Yeah, it will look weird. So,
Right.
and it doesn't sit right. So it's just better if you
Yeah.
shave it all. But then when you have the spray tan, even like women really can't sit down to go pee because if you sit down to go pee, the pee splatters all over your spray tan and it ruins your spray tan. And
That's horrible.
not everybody from the audience will see it, but the judges can see it, and then your stage photos show it. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. So you probably can't drink a whole lot of water before you get started. You don't want to be in that situation.
well, and it's not even that because you are manipulating every little element because you have no body fat, but you need your muscles to pump up right before you get on stage. So, like, not only are you restricting your diet or suddenly eating food so that way your muscles can pump full of glycogen and look full, you're also manipulating your water. So you go a couple days where you're flushing all the extra water out of your body. You're drinking like 2 gallons of water a day. So all of a sudden, now I'm not drinking any water. So, yeah, like you might not drink a lot of water. You still have to pee. But what a lot of women do is, I don't know if you've seen those pee funnels, but they kind of like
Okay.
stand up and pee like a dude.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That works great now, doesn't it?
It actually does. I felt so weird about that first time because it felt so masculine but then like the 5-year-old in me that like always wanted to pee standing up was like, yes, this is awesome. Like now I finally know what it's like because I've always had penis envy for that reason. It's not because I wanted a penis or anything external. I just wanted to be able to stand up and pee, like, because I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Right, exactly. Like
I wanted to write my name, damn it.
my mind goes into ideas of reincarnation when it comes to people that have got that going on, right? Where there's certain things that are just very much the masculine thing about them, and of course there's the Jungian anima and animus stuff. But I think something that can be very much behind these kinds of traits, especially when someone like you've got certain things that are straight in the masculine, is that you're working out a past life resolve that you had as an incarnation as a man. And that a part of that spirit is carrying over into an incarnation that you chose to make as a woman coming back in, right? And I'm told that, gender dysphoria is a manifestation spiritually of someone who has not spent enough time with both genders across lifetimes.
That makes sense. I do feel like this is an integration lifetime for me. I'm definitely more in the masculine and I have been most of my life, but I remember though, when I was little, looking in the mirror in my sister's room because they had like this great dresser mirror, and I'd go in the room when they were at school and I would just look in the mirror and think how cute I was. But I remember just being happy I was a girl and be like, I'm so cute. So, I feel like that was kind of a past life thing, you know, but it would make sense what you're saying because I am very, you know, how I've been most of my life is very settled into my masculine. And, I feel like the last 3 years, since I've been doing a lot of my shadow work and integration stuff, I'm integrating the feminine and learning to be a little bit more in my feelings and emotions. I just always felt like they were messy, so I didn't really want to be that. I was more of a doer, and more masculine energy versus receptive and allowing myself to feel things. So, that's why I like bodybuilding because it's masculine and feminine. Like it is the masculine part is lifting the weights. The feminine part is showcasing my body and getting all glammed up and all of that. You know, the posing, all of it. It's definitely having to be both. So I feel like this is definitely integration for me.
That's a beautiful thing, right? Me, I've been okay with my life in that respect. I never felt like I had to to reconcile things, and I was always okay with other people with whatever they were going through, you know, and then you know, in the socio-political universe, I have said things that are very different than like my feelings about people that have something going on in that gender spectrum conversation, because there's the personal angle of what's up with people, and then there's this grotesque spectacle, right? And at the end of the day, it's just like I'm just hoping people are just doing what's right for them, you know, and are being wise about it, because there's just so much medicine involved with what they're experiencing, right? The way that all of that is going through it, and you know, you're just trying to shout, "You're making a horrible mistake," and you don't shout it, you know, it's definitely going to happen.
It is, for sure. Yep. Integration was, you know, or just learning to, it goes back into getting emotion out of your body, you know. It's finding the things that you've compartmentalized, where you've hid aspects of self. And, you know, for me, that ties back into dreaming always, too. So,
Oh, your background has now changed. You are now this art piece on the wall.
I was trying to do it for you too, but it didn't work. So dang it.
That works though.
That's a shout out to Chaney.
Yeah.
Why didn't it change yours?
I don't know. It just changed. I don't know. It was supposed to. You were trying to throw both of us into that picture. Was that it? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Like the birthday party with you and Chaney.
Right? I don't know. I wish I knew how to do the thing with that.
Me too.
We got about
funny.
5 minutes left to the show, by the way.
Okay. Well, I lost my train of thought because I was.
No. That's okay. I was leaving
space
for you to respond to the little short diatribe that I try to keep as short as possible when I'm the interviewer and not the viewee. Why don't we take a couple of minutes, because we didn't get really a chance to go over any of the acupuncture stuff. So give us the 5-minute acupuncture.
Okay. Well, I don't actually get acupuncture. I would love to, because I do believe that, well, your body's electric. They put in little, you know, pins and needles to fix your electric circuitry. There is science to it, and it's very, I'm going to say Eastern medicine, it's been around a lot longer, and they've proven themselves to work over and over again. So don't knock it till you've tried it, for one. But what got me into acupuncture, and the acupuncture meridians specifically, is dreaming, because I had a friend named Janine who I met through Clubhouse in her room called the Dream Lab, and she'd always talk about acupuncture meridians, and I thought she was kind of weird. I was like, oh, I don't know about all this. But once you start interpreting your dreams, anytime that you have a body part that's highlighted, not necessarily even on yourself, it could be on any dream character, because pretty much all your dream characters are aspects of self. If it's like an injury to a certain area on their body or on their calf or something like that, you can go check an acupuncture chart and see the acupuncture meridian, and it will tell you, based on what meridian it is, what the trapped emotion is. So when you have this trapped emotion, it's your body, because your subconscious is your body. Everybody thinks it's a part of your brain. It's not. It's your actual body. Your body is trying to communicate with you. It doesn't have language. So it talks to you in your dreams, and it gives you symbols. It'll give you wordplay. It'll give you metaphors, so that way you can work out what it's trying to tell you. But if it's highlighting a specific body area and a body part, it's letting you know that you have trapped emotion in that area, and you have sickness or disease. Like, it's going to happen if you don't take care of it. And I didn't believe her until I had a dream where I had a character that had it was a little dog, but it was like named Bear, and it fit in the palm of my hand. But he was actually like a Saint Bernard, but he was like miniature, and he had chewed all the fur off his side. I didn't have any pain in my body or anything like that. Well, I told my friend about it, and she goes, "Well, that's the lung meridian." I said, "Well, it's the dog. It wasn't me." And she goes, "It's you." So anyway, looking at the acupuncture chart, I believe where it was the liver gallbladder, and it was associated with anger. Well, I also know that when I dream of bears, it usually has to do with mama bear things. So it was a mothering thing. Well, all of a sudden I did start getting pain in that area. So it was really weird. Well, when I sat and thought about what the dream meant, because the next day some kind of memory will always come up with pain, like with emotion in it. And that's the thing that your body's trying to say, hey, we're bringing this to the surface. Let's alchemize it, like heal it, get the emotion out of it, and you can get rid of this disease in your body before it starts. So it's really amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what?
Your body knows this. It knows the acupuncture chart, even though your mind doesn't know it.
That two things now. A, I didn't realize acupuncture was associated with dreams, and B, I forgot that we wanted to talk about dreams, because I really did want to talk about dreams, because I could share a thing or two from all of my dream experiences that I was having at a very hardcore time in 2012 in my life, because I really felt I was working with purpose in the, quote, consciousness movement, and dreams were happening that were all related to being conspiracy research with aliens and superheroes and all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure that I was doing some astral warfare, which is impressive, because I couldn't quite handle warfare in the physical world, knowing who I was. But, Abbie, why don't you do the last second pitch, because we're at the end of the show.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Abbstract1. I spell abstract incorrectly. It has 2 B's, because my name is Abbie with 2 B's. You can also find me on Project Chaney. We do Secret Society of Good Guys every Friday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. And I'm currently working on a reality transurfing podcast with Bootsy Greenwood of Blue Collar Mystics. We are live every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Excellent. And Abbie, I really want to ask you back sometime soon, because I want to have we'll do a whole thing on dreams, and then explore what we can talk about then, because I'm actually very irked that we didn't get a chance to talk about dreams.
Dreams are a whole episode. They definitely completely unrelated. Or no, they're related, but I mean, Yeah, we can go. Dreams can go on and on.
Absolutely. All right, guys. TFR Live, I will see you next week.